Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about resizing or scaling. Resizing or scaling really means to make things either greater or smaller, but keeping the same proportions or keeping kind of like the same relationship between the height and the width and stuff. We use scaling and resizing a lot in architecture. For example, when an architect is doing a blueprint, well, that blueprint really is like a small size version of what the real thing is going to be. And what they use is exactly that, scaling or resizing. And we do this with fractions. So I'm going to be showing you right now what to do. So for example, when you're resizing something, if you have a whole number and you want to multiply it by a fraction that is smaller than 1, then you're going to end up with a smaller number. So let's say if I multiply this times 1/3, I'm going to end up with 5/3, which really equals 1 2/3, right? So I see that by multiplying my whole number by a fraction that's smaller than 1, I ended up with a number that was smaller, which basically I would do that if I wanted to turn something big into a smaller way. I would multiply it by a fraction less than 1. But how about if I want to enlarge something? How about if I want to, let's say I have something really small, I want to make it bigger but keep the same dimensions. So then I would multiply that same number by a fraction that is greater than 1. So I'm going to keep my same 5, and I'm going to multiply it times, let's say, 2 1/3. Okay, so I know that 2 1/3 is actually greater than 1. So I'm going to use my distributive property. Or actually, I'm going to be turning this into an improper fraction. So I know that 2 1/3, that's 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7/3. And 5, if I want to turn it into a fraction, I'm going to just put my little 1 at the bottom. So I'm going to multiply across. I have 5 times 7 is 35. 3 times 1 is 3. And now I'm going to simplify this. I know that 3 fits inside 35 11 times, because 11 times 3 is 33, so that's 11. And then I have 2/3 left. So you see I turn from 5 times 2 1/3 is 11 2/3. I hope this helps you, and I hope that this kind of helps explain what the lesson is going to be. In the lesson today, you're not going to be needing to actually give me the result like I just showed you. You're just going to need to kind of really look at things and see if the product is going to end up being greater than the number, equal to the number, or less than the number. And remember, we can do that by kind of seeing if we're multiplying by a fraction that is less than 1, then for sure it's going to be less than the number we started with. If we multiply by a fraction that is greater than 1, then we're going to end up with a greater number. And if we multiply by 1, well, then we know that it's going to be the same number because of the identity property. Okay, enjoy today.